Welcome back to the Cabin Podcast. I'm Andrea Belke.
And I'm Megan Christian.
And today we are talking about some of the best breweries and wineries in the state of Wisconsin, and also sprinkling in some non-alcoholic options as well. And we have a fabulous guest. As a reminder, the Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association and the WCA Group Health Trust.
Yeah, guys, so we've got another Megan in the cabin today. Welcome, Megan Langmeyer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so you guys might also know Megan as Meg from Milwaukee Photo. She goes around the state and posts it all on her social media, lots of Milwaukee hotspots. So, yeah, do you want to tell us about how you first came to Wisconsin?
Yeah, so I came to Wisconsin to work at Discovery World in Milwaukee. It's an absolutely fantastic place to work. It's so much fun to work there. But when I got here, I was hearing from a lot of my friends in Chicago, like, why did you move to Wisconsin? What are you doing up there? It's so much fun down here in Illinois. And I wanted to go around and showcase and highlight all the really cool, unique, and really special things that were going on in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. And the fact that it's just so close, if you are in Chicago and you want to come up and explore, it's really easy to do that. And so that's really where my page started and grew from there.
Yeah, and you crank out a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Was it hard at first to get into that? Because I know sometimes when people, you don't have a page that you're doing that kind of content and then getting into it can be kind of a leap.
It was a shift. I started doing like photography, and that's really where my first passion was with it all, was taking pictures while going and exploring and doing all sorts of things. But with social, it just changed and it shifted into video. And that was kind of an easy jump. It's a little bit more fun because you can take a different spin on things too. It's a learning curve a little bit, but I like that learning challenge. So
Yeah.
it's nice.
Absolutely. Well, I think we should hop right in, guys. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
So we are going to talk about breweries and wineries. I think let's start with some wine, right? Just
Yeah.
some wine. Are you more of a wine or a beer girl?
It definitely depends on the season, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting into warmer weather. I love a winery. Sitting
too.
outside and really enjoying some live music. Do you have just your ultimate favorite winery in the state?
I don't think I have a favorite winery.
Mhm.
I think they're all so great for very different reasons. One of those being, I feel like the wineries across our state make you feel like you're in Europe. Does that
They
make
do.
sense?
Yes.
They do.
Like
100%.
Wollersheim, for instance, like I feel like
Yeah.
I'm going to Italy and it's just like a quick drive away.
100%. So Wollersheim is actually how Wisconsin got its start with wineries. So there's a man, a Hungarian man that came. He was a nobleman named Augustin Harazzi. It's so hard to say. Try saying that like 8 times fast. But he planted the first grapevines ever there. And basically what happened was he got them started. He left when the gold rush started to go to California. He established some of the best, like Sonoma wine places out in California. Another man took over. It was kind of going well, but then Prohibition ended and they decided we're going to make Wollersheim into a farm. Well, then the Wollersheim family took over eventually in the 1970s. And in 1985, a French winemaker, they brought him in. His name was Philippe Coquard.
Okay.
I'm not good at the accent thing. Coquard. Try saying that.
I trust you.
Right? But he came in, he married into the family, and he's still there. So now they have a professional French winemaker making all of these wines at Wollersheim. And they were like critically acclaimed nationally for their Prairie Fumé, which I've had and it's delicious. But if you ever get the chance, you definitely have to hit Wollersheim. Have you been there, Andrea?
So I haven't been to Wollersheim. You've been though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one place too that I think, going once is really cool, but going multiple times just to experience different seasons there
Oh, yeah.
is really special. Like in the early spring or in the early summer, I should say, when the flowers are all in bloom and everything
Yes.
looks beautiful. Their gardens are great. It's just beautiful. And then also in the fall too.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's in Prairie du Sac, so it overlooks the Wisconsin River. It's up on a hill. It's so beautiful. Kind of has that European flair like you were talking about, Meg. So we've done video there for Discover Wisconsin, and just looking at it, I'm like, whoa, I need to go.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful.
Well, it's interesting. So that was the first vineyard in
Yes.
Wisconsin.
Mhm.
But Wollersheim was not the first winery. Actually, the first winery was Von Steele. So that's in
Yes.
Algoma. And that's also an interesting story, but it didn't start until 1967, which is very late.
Yeah.
When you think about almost the 70s, the first winery in Wisconsin, and seeing how popular they are now. But the whole story with that was it was originally built in 1868, first as a brewery, because breweries came a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And eventually Doc Steele took over and he founded it because he wanted to legally sell his Door County wine. That was kind of his specialty. And so he got the first license to sell the wine, opened up the winery, and then it kind of took off from there. And you can still buy some of his Door County wine at Von Steele. And it's a really cool building, very historic, has a lot of the history there laid out for people to see. But that's a really cool one. And it's the oldest licensed winery in the state.
And Discover Wisconsin's also done video there too, so you can check that out on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Meg, you were telling me that Wollersheim has a sister winery.
Yes. So the Wollersheim family also kind of took over. It's called Cedar Creek. It's in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, which is kind of like a north suburb. I'm probably going to get a little hate for this, but a north suburb of Milwaukee. It's pretty far north, but it's a great winery. It's absolutely beautiful. It's in an old wool mill. So it's right on the creek there.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely beautiful. And they have I think it's a strawberry wine that they bring out for their Strawberry Fest, which is really nice, especially it's early June when the Strawberry Fest happens. And they have their huge street festival in Cedarburg. And the winery has a really big thing going on for it. But that's a really cute one.
Cedarburg is such a cute town too.
Yeah, it's a great place to visit, but also visiting that winery there is so fun and just getting a flight of different wines to try.
Yeah. Well, speaking of flights of wines, I went to this one place this summer, and when I looked it up, I saw that they're changing location actually, but I still want to talk about it a little bit. It's called Piper Porch Winery and Vineyard. And it was in Mukwonago, Wisconsin. I believe it's staying in Mukwonago, just changing ownership a little bit. But it's a family-owned winery, and it had a little tasting room in this person's home. Just in their basement, they had this whole tasting room. You could go in, pick out your wines. And the cool part about here is, in the summer, you can just sit outside, look over their little vineyard that they have in their backyard. You can bring your own charcuterie, bring your own snacks and everything. Which a lot of them don't have that policy. So me and my mom just picked up a little charcuterie tray from Sendik's and brought it there. And it was the best time. I loved it. Wine tastings, there's just something about them. It just kind of brings me peace.
Yeah. What's your go-to wine? Does that change as well with the seasons?
I think so too. And I think with wine, it's a bit of a mood thing too, where, it's warmer outside. You kind of want to have a glass of white. Depends on what you're eating too. Or if you're having a steak dinner, you definitely want to have a red. Or cozying up on the couch, a red is so good.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit more particular to kind of oakier wines. I like that bitteriness.
Yeah. Yeah, you like a good oaky Chardonnay.
Yeah, what about you guys?
Well, I usually am just a dry red. Yeah, lately I've been a dry red, full-bodied.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
There you go.
And then I see what comes.
Yeah.
I know I like dry though. That's the thing. I know I like dry.
Yeah. I'm a Sauvignon Blanc girl. I like that really crisp, citrusy finish. And I'm a Cab girl till the day I die.
Yeah.
I love a good smooth Cabernet. And I'll drink it with pasta too, without marinara sauce, because it's just that good.
Yeah.
But you're right, cozying up on the couch with a red wine is the best.
And a little bit of chocolate too.
Oh, yeah. I always get those little Brookstone chocolates with the pomegranate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you gotta try it.
Okay, I'm curious about pairing wine with pizza. What are your thoughts on that?
100% hands down, wine and pizza go together.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Bailey's Run in New Glarus, they do big Neapolitan pizzas, and that's a really fun winery. They have their dog Bailey, who is always on the premise and runs around. Bailey's so cute, some sort of doodle type dog.
Aw.
But that's a fun one. They do a great job, of course, with all the live music and dancing. But that's one where they have these huge pizzas.
I've had that winery on my list for a while. I really want to check them out. The dog is so cute. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, 100%. Another one that has a really cool vibe, kind of going back to that European Italian feel, is Villa Bletza, and that's along the Great River Road in Pepin, Wisconsin. Their winery is actually modeled after an Italian piazza. So basically, there's these 3 walls, and they have a big fountain in the middle that replicates all of that. So they have events year round. They have tastings. They have tours, so you can kind of learn the winemaking process, which I think is a cool aspect to a Wisconsin winery, because a lot of people will literally go to Italy to learn how to do winemaking. But you can do it right in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's
which
really
is pretty
unique
cool.
too. Like the agro-tourism almost aspect of that, where you can learn the process of things and learn a little bit more about the grapes too, which I think in the state of Wisconsin is really tricky because of our climate. And we have to have a very particular kind of like hardy grape.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like learn about that kind of stuff, and like ice wines and the freezing of grapes and all of that. It's really interesting.
Well, yeah. So when I was researching, I found that the Europeans that came here early on really struggled to figure out how to make wine in Wisconsin, because they brought over the same things to make the grapes that they were using in Europe, which the climate's similar, but it's definitely not the same. And just the agriculture in general in Wisconsin, the layout's very different. You have different rivers, different streams, different soils. So that had to be a really long process for people to figure out, this is how you can get a grape to survive a Wisconsin winter.
It's probably why these wineries didn't open up until the 70s.
Exactly.
But I will agree. I think it's a cool summer activity as well to go and do a tasting and learn how you can taste different flavors. I know I did that at Chateau St. Croix, which is another winery in St. Croix Falls. I don't know if you've been there, Meg, but that one it feels like you're in Europe. It has French influence. It looks like a castle. It was actually my first Discover Wisconsin shoot. And so there's these big lion statues out in the front. And so for the beginning of that episode that I did, I was talking to the lions in French. I can't really speak French. Oui, oui, c'est la vie, je ne sais quoi.
They got it.
Philippe's name for me.
So, but that one's really fun. You walk in, everything's just like really, really big. It looks very European. I got to do a whole tour and a tasting and learning how to properly swirl. When you get that swirl down, you're going to look like an expert.
Oh, yeah.
So now when I get a wine, I always do that. You swirl, then you do the smell.
Yep.
Then you might swirl again, and then you do the taste.
Got to get the flavors
We should
first.
practice today.
I know. It's a little early today.
I know.
Well, that's kind of all I have on my wineries list. I don't know if there's anything else you want to hit, but
Jumping off of that though too, and talking about doing the tastings with the tour, like everyone talks about going to Door County and visiting a couple different ones.
Yes.
There's like trolley tours that you can take up in Door County and go to a couple different wineries while you're up there. We recently just did Door 44 the last time we were up there, and that one was a lot of fun. And I think that one was one where I like discovered that I liked more oaky wines. Because we sat around and like they had cheeses and crackers for us, but also throughout the tour too, just like learning a little bit more about like the flavor profile of everything, and really like stopping and like tasting it in your mouth, like holding the wine in your mouth and like figuring out what that flavor profile was. You have to like sit and think about it for a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. There's actually a place in my hometown. It's called Wine Maniacs, and it's a wine bar. But if you know nothing about wine, you can walk in there and know so much walking out, because if you don't understand how certain foods bring out the flavors in wine, they will bring out stuff for you to try, and they'll be like, okay, now notice how this feels this way on your tongue, or notice how it brings out this citrusy aspect of the wine. They'll teach you everything, and that's a really cool aspect of wine tastings.
Yeah.
with wine, it's easier. I feel like I have a slight palate with wine. I can taste some differences. When I did a whiskey tasting, it all tasted the same to me.
It all burned your nose.
No, for real. And I love them. And I do like whiskey. But I did a whiskey tasting with Jay Henry. He would say, this one has a little bit of, syrup drizzled over a pancake taste. I'm like, no, it doesn't. But for the wine, I can actually taste some of the differences. So I get excited about just the mechanics of that.
I think there's almost a little bit more variance with wine too, especially with the fruit itself, and being able to taste like other fruits. Like some will have a little bit more like peachy notes to it, or like I was saying earlier with Cedar Creek, like having a little bit more of the like strawberry notes in there too. Like there are grapes that can pick up on other fruits, and even like wineries that are like combining with farms to like utilize specific fruits for things like Lautenbach's up in Door County too. They do a lot of that. So there's all of their like family, like farm produced like fruit in their wine. So like just pouring out that flavor a lot more. And I think it's easier to see those profiles in a fruited based thing than like bourbon or whiskey is.
I know. I could talk about wine forever, but we should probably move on to brewery.
The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association. And this week, we are featuring Dunn County. Dunn County was created in 1854. Dunn County's early settlement days focused on logging camps, railroads, and pioneers. The county seat is Menominee, a vibrant city with a small town feel, home to the University of Wisconsin Stout. From craft breweries to live theater and music, there is always something going on. If you want to learn more about Dunn County's history, the Dunn County Historical Society is a great place to start. You can take a guided museum and schoolhouse tour where you can learn about life in a Wisconsin logging camp and play some historical games. History aside, Dunn County is nature at its best. It's home to the Red Cedar River and the breathtaking Red Cedar State Trail, so it's a haven for hikers, bikers, paddlers, and wildlife watchers. There is also a Dunn County barn quilt tour, which is so cute. You can take a scenic drive and see all the quilts hanging from barns, sheds, and granaries to celebrate the county's rich farming history. There is so much to do and see in Dunn County. For more information, go to wicounties.org.
The Cabin is also brought to you by the WCA Group Health Trust. Serving local governments and school districts, the WCA Group Health Trust partners closely with members to fulfill their employee health benefit obligations in a fiscally responsible manner. Learn more at wcaghc.org.
Let's talk breweries. And you got engaged at a brewery,
I did. Yes.
Okay, that's so exciting. Tell us about it.
One of my favorite breweries, actually probably my favorite brewery in Wisconsin, is Third Space in Milwaukee. So you have like your home place, you have your workplace, and then you need a third space, which I love the concept of their name just in general. But their beers are so good. And I was throwing a party for my then boyfriend at Third Space. And this party involved all of our friends and all of our family joining. Turns out that day he had a ring in his pocket and proposed. This was very exciting.
And you had no idea?
I had no idea. We had been together at that point for like 17 years. So finally.
She got the ring.
No one else can ever complain about not being engaged.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, he got it done.
He got it done. A great place too.
Yeah, I love Third Space because they do trivia nights and they always have fun things going on. I did like a reality TV trivia night there one time.
They do some fun festivals too. A lot of breweries around the state do some really good festivals.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another one that I wanted to talk about was actually my first Discover Wisconsin shoot ever. And it was in Lake Geneva with Andrea, actually. We went to Topsy Turvy Brewery in Lake Geneva. And the owner is Dan Schuld. We got the chance to sit and talk with him, learn some really cool stuff about their brewery. But it's in this neo-Gothic former First Baptist church. So when you are walking in, it just looks like a church on the corner of the street with a patio. And you're kind of like, gosh, what is this thing? You walk in and it's just this huge brewery, like tons of seats, little private rooms off of there. And then you see the bar. This bar is made of Jenga blocks, which is really unique. And behind all the taps is this gorgeous stained glass window.
Mm-hmm.
That was so cool to see. They have at least 20 beers on tap. They're seasonal, so not year round. But every time they're open, over 20 beers on tap. They have 3 like little brewery things downstairs that Andrea and I got to see. And when we went, they were making a cockroach beer.
What?
So we got to try a beer with food grade not a cockroach. No, cicada.
I mean, still not okay. But to be fair, not much better. I mean, not like cicada. Ooh, oh, never mind. Cicada, that's delicious.
If you would be down to try cockroach beer, you would also be down to try.
Yeah.
I just found out I'm allergic to cockroaches, actually.
That's good. Probably.
I'm going to try saying that again in case you want to make that go.
No, I think we're keeping it.
Okay, that was good. Guys, not cockroach beer, cicada beer. So basically, they use food grade cicadas and they kind of like grind them up, to my understanding of what the brewer was telling us, and kind of like infuse it in the beer somehow. But we tried it, and it did have a very earthy taste to it.
Interesting.
I didn't like it. I don't know if Andrea liked it.
It reminds me of how like people are using like grasshoppers for like protein powders and stuff almost. Like
Yeah.
food grade cicadas sounds interesting.
I think they're probably very similar.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
No.
No, I think it's interesting. Well, they had their cicada fest.
Yes,
their
Cicada
celebration.
Palooza.
Yeah, at that
Because
time.
It was the time when cicadas from like however many years and the other birth time were
Well, so the cicadas,
hard to understand.
Nick might know more than we do. The cicadas, they go, underground for
Yes.
about
14 to
Yeah,
17
they have
years?
hibernation
Yes.
cycles.
And that's what it was the two groups' hibernation cycles stopped at the same time. So they all just gave birth to all these cicadas. But
So-
they only live for a certain amount of time. and
Oh
then
yeah, they
die.
come out, they mate, and then they die.
Did you hear them everywhere? Like we didn't hear them.
Yes.
They were everywhere. This
Yeah.
was last summer. And
Yeah.
so all the cicadas were coming back to life, all ready to go.
Yeah, you could just literally go outside and pick one up off the street. They were everywhere.
No wonder they were in the beer.
Andrea, you gotta address the elephant in the room now.
Well, no, I'm disgusting, Meg. So I did eat a live cicada when I was there at Topsy Turvy.
Yes.
Do you hate me?
No, I'm so impressed right now. That's very brave.
Well, I was on Survivor. And so I'm used to like food eating challenges and eating things like larva and all of that.
What did you think?
Larva?
Well, I felt really bad about myself after doing it because like eating a live cicada is kind of gross,
Yeah.
but I was dared to do it for money. And so made that $50.
Worth it.
Yeah. it probably would have died in a couple days anyway.
No, yeah, they
Their life
only
cycles are
100%,
not
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it took it out of its misery. It didn't have to suffer.
Yeah. All right.
Gotta wash that down with another.
Right?
We'll move on.
Yeah. What's a beer that you
Anyway,
can wash it down with?
Topsy Turvy, we love it. It actually is a really cool
Yeah.
spot, super aesthetic. The whole church vibe and the stained glass windows are
Yeah.
really beautiful.
And it's dog friendly on the patio, which is
Oh,
a
that's
huge
really
plus
nice.
for people in Lake
Yeah.
Geneva or around the state.
Mhm.
Wisconsin people are dog people. So
Another brewery I love, Three Sheeps in Sheboygan. So I grew up in Random Lake, so Sheboygan's very close. I love this place. I mean, it's a huge building. Whenever I go to Green Bay Packers games and I'm driving home, it's a good place to stop. I feel like pro tip, if you go to the game, you don't want all the traffic coming out of Green Bay, leave a little early, go to Three Sheeps, hang out there, watch the rest of the game, and then head back down if you're from Milwaukee area or something. You've been to Three Sheeps,
Yeah,
right?
I love Three Sheeps. A lot of times we like to go up to that area. We go hiking up at Coler Andre, and then we'll stop at Three Sheeps afterwards because you have to like replenish your body with a beer after you go on a nice long
100%.
hike. But like bringing in some snacks, that's a great place to bring your like little charcuterie board into as well. And there's some like fresh fish spots around town too in Sheboygan. We bring like fish dip and stuff over to the brewery. It's so fun. It's a pretty one too.
I haven't been there. I'll have to stop because I love Sheboygan.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there.
It's a nice one. It's interesting because there are a lot of craft breweries now. And so I was kind of doing the research, but you know, obviously we know the history of brewing in Wisconsin goes way back, but it goes all the way back to the 1830s. And so earliest breweries came in the early 1840s, and the first documented commercial brewery in Wisconsin was Owens Brewery. There's some sort of debate on whether there was some earlier ones in Mineral Point or Elk Grove. I think just back then it's kind of hard with the records and everything, but Owens Brewery is kind of credited for that. So then between like 1848, 1849, 12 breweries opened in Wisconsin. And then by the early 1900s, Milwaukee was home to 4 of the world's largest breweries, Bletza, Miller, Pabst, and Schlitz. So it's kind of interesting to see how like the craft breweries then kind of came out of that. One of my favorite craft breweries is Earthrider Brewery. That's in Superior. And so that one's really cool if you ever make it up that way, because it's right on the water on the St. Louis River that goes into Superior. Duluth is right across the way. And it's set on this just industrial site. It's very industrial up there in Superior. And so it's kind of on a shipyard. And they have these huge concerts in the summer and events. And you're just kind of right on the water. They do a really good job with their beer too. But if you ever make it up to Superior, Earthrider is one of my favorites.
Wow. There's one near an industrial park in Lake Mills too that I want to talk about. Tyrannina Brewing Company. I've been there before, and it's got to be one of my favorites. And they actually just came out with a new tap room called the Pharmacy in Lake Mills that my I just call her my stepsister, but my basically stepsister got married at. So I got to see that. But Tyrannina, the name, I want to just read this little snippet. So the name comes from the legend of Tyrannina, where a foreign tribe is said to have built a series of stone structures and effigy mounds on the edge of the lake they called Tyrannina. The structures lie preserved in Rock Lake, which is in Lake Mills, but no one knows what they're for, who built them, or the meaning of Tyrannina. But the cool part is that the brewing company describes their beers as the newest legends of Tyrannina, legendary Wisconsin beers.
Mhm.
So I think it's cool how they kind of played into the local history of Lake Mills, because they have Astelon not too far from there too, and those are all mounds and stuff. But so it's the original brewery there, tasting room and beer garden. You can bring your pets. They have a summer concert series, which is so fun. Have you been to that?
One of those. Those are really fun.
So fun. Fridays and Saturdays during the summer. They have live music, food trucks. They don't have actual food on site besides those food trucks. But yeah, they have 16 draft beers on site. And then at the pharmacy, they have 24 taps and a kitchen, patio, rooftop deck, and the venue, which is upstairs. It's really quiet and quaint and just right in the heart of Lake Mills. It's so cute. I love it.
That. I like breweries too that sometimes are like kind of in the middle of nowhere kind of places. We went out to Central Waters, like their main brewery location, which is in Amherst, Wisconsin, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And that one is gorgeous. It's kind of like an industrial park kind of thing too. But it's beautiful. It's super spacious. They have a really cute gift shop in there. But then in downtown Milwaukee, they also have a tap room down there too, which is in an old like Pabst church, like from the 1800s. Pabst owned it for a while. I think it was a Pabst tap room for a little bit as well more recently. But it's an absolutely beautiful space. They've redone the inside completely. It's gorgeous. You can see like the brewery equipment. It's really cool space.
Wait, is that the one in the brewery district?
Yes.
Yeah, they also have the Best Place coffee connected to that.
Yes.
Yeah, when you go there, it looks medieval. It's all preserved. It looks really cool.
Yeah, they've done a really nice job rehabbing that whole center. It's so pretty.
That's so cool. Do you have any others? Because I have a good one.
You can go.
Well, this one, got to bring it back home to Oconomowoc because when am I not hyping them up? But Steel Tank Brewing Company, it's a little bit newer. And me and Eric Paulson actually were just talking about this. But Steel Tank is a small craft brewery and they offer a variety of brews. They're all high quality, all fully malt beers, no additives. So that's like their big thing is we do not want additives in our beer. But it's a very big Harley Davidson hotspot. So a lot of bikers will go in there and hang out, which is really cool. They're an American gastropub also. So they have a lot to eat there, which is really cool. I've like picked up DoorDash from there before and it smelled so good. But they have a venue inside too, which is called Rally Point, and it's known as one of the best music venues around my area. So they have brand new lights, a huge stage, lots of music there. Definitely somewhere you should stop if you're coming right off of a 94 passing Oconomowoc. It's right off the highway. So definitely a must stop. And there's lots of other stuff in the area too.
Breweries with a good food scene is amazing. Like whether they have a restaurant inside or if they have like really good food trucks that they partner with, hands down, so good.
100%.
Any other last breweries that you have?
One of the coolest ones that I've ever visited, I think it was called Minhas, which is like south of New Glarus a little bit. And I think it's the oldest like continually running brewery in Wisconsin. I think second oldest in the nation behind Yingling. But now they do a lot of like contract brewing, and I think they do like Rhinelander and stuff like that. But they have a whole museum inside the brewery too. I think it was in the basement when we went, that you can kind of explore like beer history across the state, which was really cool to see.
Yeah. A lot of these places do have contract brewing too, which is really interesting because then you can kind of go anywhere in Wisconsin and get their beer, not just the brewery. So if you're far away, you can still enjoy their beers and stuff, which is cool.
Nick, do you have any favorite breweries? Or you can throw it back to wineries as well.
Well, Enlightened Brewery in Milwaukee. I think it just closed though, but my buddy worked there and it was a really cool spot. They had this, we're going to have to cut away to this because there's no way to explain this, but they had this little like, you know those Rock'em Sock'em robot games?
Okay, yeah.
But like a gymnast, you'd sit there and like spin it really fast and it'd fly off and it'd have to land on its feet. Me and another guy spent like hours in the corner playing that game while everybody else hung out. had a blast. That's like
Just
my
the
only
good vibes.
microbrewery.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun when there's old school Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man, some of these breweries, and kind of
had a good chunk of those games and stuff.
Yeah.
pull tabs. Yeah, there's some good
Yep.
pull tabs at Three Sheeps.
Have you ever won pull tabs?
I was telling Andrea, it is like the best thing ever when you spend $20 on a pull tab and just get $2 back.
No, I know. You feel like a winner.
Yep.
Every time I win anything, I have to put it back into the pull tabs machine. I want to get
Yeah.
that grand prize.
You have
Mhm.
to. I know people who have won like the jackpot on the pull tabs before.
I
Whoa.
want to
Yeah.
meet those people.
How much
Those are
is
like the
that?
luckiest people.
It's like 300 to 500, I think,
Oh.
normally. But
It's very exciting.
No, it is exciting. I was hoping it was like
literally put like $1. I mean, they could be more some places, but everywhere that I've been, it's been like
I was like
300
hoping
to-
for a real jackpot. I'm like, I'm gonna get some more pull tabs.
No, you're gonna have to go to Ho Chunk for that one.
All right, I want to shout out some NA places. There aren't any official non-alcoholic breweries or anything. I think that would be really hard to make a place like that survive, especially in Wisconsin. But I think there's some places that do it really well. Lakefront Brewery. They always have some NA options kind of year round, which I think is really cool. And now, I mean, that whole industry is surging a lot
Yeah.
because sometimes you're not a drinker, but you still want to go to these really cool places. And I think now there's more options than ever before. I know for me, like I love to go out and drink some NA beers and then I don't have to worry about the hangover. It all comes down to the hangover.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going out a lot and being social,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want to actually drink
Yeah.
beer. So there's a lot of great NA options. I know Broken Bat has some cool ones. I don't know if you have heard of Untitled Art. It's
Yes.
okay.
That's Madison based.
Yes, it's Wanakee. And so they do the brewing out of Octopi Brewing. They have a lot of options. And they're a craft brewery, but yeah, they're from Madison. And they have a lot of really good NA options. So I think that's really cool. What's interesting, so when I've gone through my phases of just not drinking at all and I do NA beers, I was noticing I was starting to feel buzzed, even when I was drinking the NA, to the point of actually asking the bartender, these are not alcoholic, right? And first of all, it could be placebo, which I'm a sucker for a placebo effect. So, but it actually increases the dopamine in your brain. It's called, learned association. So if you're drinking and you're usually associating drinking with feeling a certain way, you will actually like release more dopamine. So you're feeling buzzed and you're feeling great. And so it's kind of, for some people that maybe either struggle with drinking or just don't want to be out like drinking so much, it's kind of like, try the NA beers.
Yeah.
The other thing is if you're gluten intolerant like me, you have to also try to find gluten-free beer because I think that the NA beers were giving me brain fog because I was feeling honestly so loopy and so crazy. And I would wake up with a hangover.
Well, I think it's important too to know that like some NA beers do have a percentage in them.
Yeah.
Very, very, very low. But I think NA beers are great if you like the taste of beer, but just don't want the effects of it. Which
Mhm.
And
it's
even
awesome.
talking about the gluten-free beers, I think that's becoming a more and more popular thing
Yes.
too. Like you're talking about Lakefront. Lakefront has a great gluten-free beer, New Grist, and I think their cheese curds are all gluten-free too, or at least they all are from the curd wagon.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah,
There you
yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of options these days, which is really cool. There's also a lot of non-alcoholic wines and ciders, and I think it gives people some more options than there were before.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we want to do a little rapid fire. I know it might be hard to choose for you, but if you can do your best to give your favorites, because you're kind of all about giving some of your recommendations.
Yes.
So we're going to ask you some quick questions. If you had to pick favorite brewery in Wisconsin.
Okay, I know I said earlier Third Space was my favorite, but my second favorite is Eagle Park. I love their beers and they have a nice variety of things too. Their team is great too. Everyone there is so friendly. I like to try all their different stuff.
Yes. What's your favorite beer?
My favorite beer, I think my go-to is Happy Place by Third Space.
Oh,
it's just a good drinking one. It's nice and easy. That's a good one that it's like great to pack with. They always have it at like Brewers games, things like that. You can find it wherever.
We have that at the bar that I work at.
Good choice.
If you had to choose your favorite winery, what would you choose?
Wollersheim, hands down. That one, it's just we go there and I feel like I'm in Europe without having to spend the bajillion dollars to go and travel to Europe. I feel like I'm somewhere completely different and it's nice to just shut off, go there, grab a drink of wine. It's really fun.
So is your favorite wine from Wollersheim then? Or what's your favorite wine?
I don't know. I that's a tough question because I feel so seasonal about wines and very like situational about wines. So I don't know. That's a really tough one for me, I think.
Favorite Wisconsin restaurant?
Ooh, my favorite restaurant has to be Ishnala.
Ooh.
Yeah. I love that one. The scenery's perfect. You have to go with like a supper club kind of vibe for a favorite Wisconsin restaurant, hands down. But also like, everything that you're getting there is going to be really good. The experience is going to be magical. And like the ambiance in there is really cool too.
I haven't made it there yet, but Discover Wisconsin just did an episode with Ishnala and the Del Bar. So now it's on my bucket list.
They're both iconic places.
Yes, they are. Well, that's a great place to go in the summer. So what's your favorite summer activity?
Kayaking.
Ooh,
I love
kayaking.
kayaking. We bring our kayaks like everywhere with us.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many cool places to kayak to around town. Like in Milwaukee, specifically, kayaking along the river is great. There's tons of places if you don't have a kayak to rent from too.
Mm-hmm.
But across the state too, it's really easy to just pop in the river and kayak around or canoe around, whatever floats your boat, really.
Do you have a favorite Wisconsin small town?
Bayfield.
I love Bayfield.
I knew Megan was gonna.
I love Bayfield. It's great.
It's great. And that's another place too where you feel like you're going way farther away than you really are. You're on the coast of Lake Superior, which I feel like when people think of Wisconsin, they think of the Lake Michigan coast. Like there's also the Lake Superior coast. It's absolutely beautiful up there. The islands are gorgeous. A lot of people talk about Pictured Rocks up in Michigan, but check out the Wisconsin version. The Apostle Islands are beautiful.
Yeah, the sea caves there. Chef's kiss.
Favorite Wisconsin hike?
Oh, that's a good one. The Ice Age Trail. Obviously that one goes pretty much across the entire state, but there's segments that I think are kind of some favorites. I like the area over by like West Bend's really pretty. But that's such a beautiful trail. The whole scenery across the whole thing is so beautiful. And then following just some of the hikers that have done the whole thing, it's an incredible hike.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite Wisconsin fair food?
Corn dog. That's a classic. I really liked the last couple of years. I think Lakefront had like a foot-long cheese curd. Like,
oh my gosh.
that one was really cool.
We just tried the America's largest mozzarella.
The size of a forearm. But wait, a cheese curd that's a foot long?
Yeah, it was like on a really long, like just like a stick. So you could eat a cheese curd on a stick, and then it came with like your dipping for your ranch, of course.
It was a fried one?
It was fried, yeah. It was just like fried cheese curds on a big stick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Slay.
Wow, we gotta get a hold of that one.
I know. No kidding.
All right. And then lastly, if you have 24 hours in Wisconsin to do a little trip, what are you going to try to do?
24 hours, which I think is a good amount of time. If you're not sleeping, you could probably go around the whole state. I would definitely stop in Milwaukee, see the lakefront, and then head north from there. There's so many things to see along the way, too, when you're going up north. Just like stopping in Oshkosh and seeing that area. Fond du Lac's really cute. Appleton. I love Appleton. That's a really hard question, actually, because I'm just like, okay, I'm going to name every single town of the state. Door County, then going up to Bayfield, of course, and then just like coming back down on the west side of the state because the Mississippi area of our state is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. The Driftless area is really pretty. That's a really tough question because there's so many pretty things to see across the state and so much to do. Like, my ideal weekend is just picking a random town and going and exploring it. So if I only have 24 hours in the state of Wisconsin, it's so hard to pick one thing. I just want someone to see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a trick question.
It is.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all we got. I feel like I want to keep talking to you, though.
It's fun.
So fun. But thanks for coming in and making the drive and talking breweries, wineries with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Talking beer, talking wine, it's one of the really cool highlights with our state. We have such incredible places that really showcase not only like things that are grown here, but things that are made here.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, Cabin listeners, that's all we have for you today, but make sure to go check out some of these breweries and wineries. I know I'm going to be doing it after hearing about all of this, but we will see you next time. Don't forget to listen or watch every Monday at 9 p.m. on YouTube or 6 a.m. wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Leave us a voicemail, follow us on social media at The Cabin Podcast, and we will see you next week.
Bye. Explore the heart of Wisconsin with Best Western hotels and resorts in central Wisconsin, where comfort meets adventure. From lakeside retreats to historic landmarks, we have a range of hotels to make your stay very memorable. Start at the Best Western Plover Stevens Point Hotel and Conference Center, offering an indoor pool and hot tub. Nearby, enjoy a brew at Stevens Point Brewery or visit the Central Wisconsin Children's Museum for family fun. For a great meal, try Grazzi's Italian Grill, known for its homemade Italian dishes. In Mauston, the Best Western Park Oasis Inn features indoor and outdoor pools. Explore Castle Rock Lake or ride through scenic trails at Red Ridge Ranch. Grab a bite at Mauston Park Oasis Restaurant, offering classic American comfort food. For a historic stay, the Best Western Toma Hotel provides a cozy restaurant and lounge. Discover local wildlife at the National Wildlife Refuge or visit the Toma Historical Museum to dive into the region's past. In Wittenberg, the Best Western Wittenberg Inn caters to snowmobilers and nature lovers. Relax with a meal at Homestead Supper Club or try your luck at Ho Chunk Gaming Wittenberg. Stay in the heart of Wausau at the Best Western Plus Wausau Tower Inn, where historic charm meets modern amenities. Explore Granite Peak Ski Area or visit the Lay Yawkey Woodson Art Museum. Afterward, enjoy craft beers at Red Eye Brewing Company. The Best Western Plus New Richmond Inn and Suites offers a kitchenette for extended stays. Explore Willow River State Park or dine at Table 65 Bistro and Gelato Cafe for a farm-to-table experience. For a relaxing getaway in Rothschild, stay at the Best Western Plus Wausau Rothschild Hotel with kitchenettes in every room. Enjoy seasonal activities at Rib Mountain State Park or lakeside dining at Pinewood Supper Club. End your journey at the Best Western Plus Sparta Trail Lodge, newly renovated and offering a pub and grill. Hike or bike the La Crosse River State Trail or visit the Deke Slayton Memorial Space and Bicycle Museum for a very unique experience. No matter your destination, Best Western provides a welcoming stay in central Wisconsin. Book today at bestwestern.com. Kick off the season with fresh local finds at the Oak Creek Farmers Market in Drexel Town Square. Nominated for one of Milwaukee's best by Shepherd Express in 2024, our opening weekend is Saturday, May 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Join us every Saturday for a wide variety of farm fresh produce, unique artisanal goods, and so much more. Support local vendors and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere in the heart of Oak Creek. For vendor info and more, visit visitoakcreek.com/Oak Creek Farmers Market, and don't miss the fun. See you at the market. And before we go, we have a quick behind the scenes of the upcoming episode of Discover Wisconsin. I am joined by Lindsay Hayes, producer. We're talking all about Sheboygan County. Lindsay, you got to do this episode. You got to go to Sheboygan County. What are people going to be excited to see?
Well, first of all, I had fun being there with you.
It was really fun. It was our first time working together.
Yeah, it was an awesome time. And I think that it was fun to see a county that's really embracing the people and wanting more people to come live, work, and play there. But I love the arts of it. And I thought that it was really neat to see the passion of local artists making their mark locally and wanting to share that passion with other people. So one of my favorite parts was waking up on beautiful Lake Michigan. We got to stay right at Blue Harbor Resort, and you wake up and you're just like, wow, to this sunrise. And so you'll have to tune into the episode to see an epic sunrise that definitely feels more like the East Coast and not necessarily Wisconsin.
No, I have to be honest. That was one of my favorite mornings of filming Discover Wisconsin. It was absolutely stunning and just a great way to start the day.
Yeah, and I think the area is maybe not as like marketed enough for how beautiful it is for world-renowned golf courses and like some of the best outdoor recreation that you can find in the state of Wisconsin, whether that is, you know, the fishing or having the like off-roading for Road to America and like all of those things. So we highlight that, but we're really getting in depth with people, and the Sheboygan County, their chamber is really taking an active role to make people coming to that area like supported when they come. You and I know we've both moved a lot, and it's hard when you move somewhere new to like find a way to fit in. And they're doing a great job with their Make Their Mark program of like making people feel part of the community. So we went after people who have lived and thrived in businesses and said, hey, why is this a great place? And we really got to hear from the locals, like, this is where you should go for food. This is where you should go for fun. And then I put you to work a little and made you do some fitness.
Yeah, we did some fitness and it was hard. It made me realize I gotta hit the gym some more.
She was not, Sala was like, okay, I'm going to make you work. And I was like, get it, girl. You were doing those ropes. And I'm like, I know that burn in the arms in just a matter of 10 seconds of that. It was you did good.
So Fire Fitness.
Yes.
You got to check that out. If you're looking for a really good boot camp style workout, what were some of the other spots that you really liked when it comes to food?
Well, we ate at Bread and Bean, and I thought it was fun for you to actually get to know. It's a family-owned business, and the husband and wife and their son are so active in that. And Warren brought you into the kitchen and put you to work and said, let's make some of these meals. And so I think it's fun just to hear how they take so much pride in keeping things local and fresh and really caring about that final product being like good, clean food. So that was fun. We ate there. But then the umi sushi, I was like, okay. When she brought out that boat to us, we got like, I don't know, 5-star service there. I don't know how many different types of sushi that we got to taste, but that was pretty good too.
Yeah, it's a great food scene in Sheboygan County. And another thing, since we don't have a lot of time, so this is a quick teaser for the episode, but they do a really good job with the arts there, right?
They do, yeah. And we are going to get to feature the local symphony. And I think that that's just so beautiful to hear them. They've got a gorgeous, watercolor artist, Mary Grady, and her story, like, tear at your heartstrings and just really connect. And I want you to tune in to find out why she paints flowers.
Yes.
And there is a very unique story about that. And then we got to hear a cool song that is a Wisconsin song about Highway 29 from Eau Claire, Wisconsin up to Green Bay. And this local artist wrote it because he has put so many miles on that road and just wanted to sing about it. And so I think it's cool. It's some fun little unique stories that you're going to get to meet some special people from Wisconsin.
Yeah, and we got to hear that at the Limelight Pub, which is this unassuming little bar kind of on the corner. Looks like it's a house, and you walk in and they actually get some really amazing local and also musicians from around the country that come in there, which is really cool to see that happening right in Sheboygan.
Yeah, and I just felt like that song, I told him, I'm like, we got to do a Discover Wisconsin music video on Highway 29 because it's a cool little song that he made.
Yeah, well, there's so much going on in the episode. We could talk here forever about it, but I know you got to get going. So make sure you watch the episode. It is out streaming tomorrow, May 7th, and then it's on broadcast this weekend. See you next week. Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Andrea Belke and Megan Christian and produced by Andrea Belke. Audio engineering by Nick Cardarella and video teasers by Andrea Belke and Megan Christian with social media by Megan Christian. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover MediaWorks. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com and don't forget to leave a review.